I'm the host of Talking with Famous People. And I've been saying that for like a solid 12 or 13 years now. Maybe I've been saying that for 11. For the last 3 years or so, I've had a warning on my channel. YouTube warning me that, hey, you better watch yourself, mister. Well, I did watch myself. I behaved myself for years. Then one day, finally, they said, hey, Eric, would you like to get rid of that warning on your channel that you've had for years for bullying C.S. Joseph? Look at this comment. Geez, INFP. Her TI is lacking. Eric would have typed himself ENFP from how. Okay. Whatever. I'm not going to bully you, I've decided. Since I don't want to get a strike, you know. I have no warnings though, so I guess maybe it would be another warning. I don't know. But let's not try that out, shall we? Let's just avoid trying that out entirely. Wow. That um forklift guy who was forklifting the fiery logs yesterday, he got 3,000 views. Tiffany don't like my driving got 1,000 views too. That's pretty good. And 23 likes. That's pretty good. Cool Hotel Bed Lights got 4,350 views. And Tiffany Going Swimming got 2,500. It's pretty good. I was considering titling this stream Great Balls of Ire. Great Walls of Ire, I mean. Did I sleep well? I slept a solid 6 hours, which is pretty good. And I'm pretty proud of myself because I am determined this month for the amphetamines to last at least 3 weeks. If I go one sleepy week, that's appropriate. 3 weeks on, 1 week off is fine. But this whole like binging the amphetamines and it lasting a week and then me going 3 weeks without, that just doesn't work for me. So I'm just gonna have to show a little bit of restraint. The other thing is, it's not like I prefer Adderall when I take too much of it or take a lot of it. I don't really like getting all that thwacked out, but it's historically it's my way of doing things. Well, I'm adjusting this month, and one thing I can do that is a simple adjustment makes a big difference is break my 30s in half. So instead of having 30 30s, I start out with 60 15s. And then like this morning, I took a 15 and I left the other half on top of the pill bottle. I'll probably take it in a little while, you know. But you know, it's the second day I had the bottle. Yesterday, I only took a 15 from it. Granted, I had Adderall from Delilah that I took in the morning, but still, that's showing good restraint. And taking of vitamin B is a good idea. I will follow that advice for sure. I'll do that in a little bit. I'll take a couple B vitamins. Wait a while longer, then take my other 15. Have a total of 30 milligrams in me. Um, and the reason I need to take it as prescribed is because I like living the promises of Alcoholics Anonymous. The promises say that you will be happy, joyous, and free. I'm not sure if it's how much it has to do with my recent poor management of my amphetamines, how much it has to do with my periodic taking of Klonopin. But I've made two firm decisions so that if it's either of those factors, hopefully I will solve that problem. Number one, I'm not taking Klonopin anymore. And that's it. I might take it again in a month or something, but I'm going to make sure it's all the way out of my system plus before I take it again. So we're talking like a month solid without. This is day 3 without, no problem. It's not like I'm addicted to it. I actually think that it makes me feel worse over time after the initial like chill out effect. It does have an initial chill out effect. Yeah, we were able to get all of our meds yesterday. I got my gabapentin, my Adderall, and she got her olanzapine. Interestingly, she ended up going without it for like 4 days. Olanzapine. I saw zero signs of her going crazy. If she stops taking, I think, either the other 2 pills, either the Klonopin or the Prozac, I think she starts going crazy. But I was surprised that 4 days without olanzapine, I saw no change in her. That doesn't mean I think she should stop taking it, but I did tell her I think she should mention that fact to Dr. Ingram next time she talks to him, see what he says, Because obviously, the kind of drugs that she's on, to the extent that she could take less of them, I think it's a good thing. I'm not really talking about the Clonny. She needs that to sleep, and she needs the Prozac to not get depressed from the Clonny. The olanzapine purportedly is like the combination of olanzapine and Prozac purportedly is the magic bullet for bipolar. And certainly we saw that with Rachel, but I'm curious if the olanzapine is really needed because it's like it went like this: Klonopin, olanzapine, Prozac. I'm pretty sure. Like there was a time when Rachel was just on olanzapine and Klonopin, and she was getting super depressed, and then the doctor had Prozac, and bang! All of a sudden she's perfectly sane. But I'm curious about whether the olanzapine is really necessary because of the order of operations there, right? The Klonopin dealt with her sleep issues. The Prozac made it not depress her. I'm not sure what the olanzapine's doing. But I also respect the fact that you don't fix what's not broken, right? Her current med cocktail, which she's been on for years now, is continuing to work perfectly. So I'm not suggesting that she should stop taking it. I wonder what Dr. Ingram would say about that. And I don't want to take vitamin BS, Winston's mom, okay? I like vitamin truth instead. Vitamin BS is BS. Keep that in mind. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. So I made two crypto buys that I've been unhappy with. I've been waiting for them to get back to my initial $50 investment. I only invested $50 in each of these. One of them was called the Graph, which I still am holding on to, waiting for it to get close to $50 again. It's $46. I prefer not to take the loss. But I took like a dollar something loss on Algo this morning because it was finally creeping close to $50 again. So just sell this fucking thing so you can. I bought both the Graph and Algo at the wrong time. It was when I was first playing around with this thing and didn't have a good sense of what to look for. Like 2 days ago, I think with my current sense of how to make a choice on Coinbase, I invested $100 in COTI, Cody, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, and it's now worth $107. So I was right to pick that one. My Cardano's up, even though I bought it at too high a price because I told Delilah to buy it at 38 and 44. It's at 62, but I didn't buy it until it was at like 59 or 60. So, but nevertheless, it's up right now, $12. Coinbase is fun. It's interesting. The market tumbled yesterday in response to something went down 500 points. That's one to ride out of, but yeah, as far as the Dow goes, it's still over 37,000. And it's not like we've done anything with our portfolio at all. It's just we don't even know what it is exactly. I've been talking to Delilah trying to get an accounting of things. Uh, what have I been doing for the last year plus? Every time I get a piece of mail from Merrill Lynch or Meow Investments or whatever, I just put it in a bag and give it to Delilah. Now all of a sudden I realize, oh, okay, Eric, stop being such a baby. You're a grown up here. You need to deal with this shit. You need to do an accounting of things, figure out what the estate has in it, and um, make determinations about things. I had this timetable that we do it in January, but I find myself like kind of in a state of being frozen by not having clarity about what how much in the red or black we are given our expenditures and stuff. Well, we do have an advisor, but we also have, as far as I can tell, investments that my dad made that aren't done through this advisor. So it's like there's not a single person who seems to know all of our finances. The majority of stuff maybe with the advisor, but this is something I just realized just the other day was, oh shit. I think a fair number, at least a couple of things are not with him, Ron Yee, because he's with this company called like American Investments or something. But we get stuff from other companies that aren't that, and I don't know what's going on. I need to look at all the mail instead of just handing it to Delilah and thinking that she's gonna know what to do with it. She opens it and looks at it and stuff. She's never. I don't think she's really done anything. Anyway, it's time to stop being a baby and just deal with reality, whatever it is, good or bad. If I'm pleasantly surprised or unpleasantly surprised, you know, I have clarity about what the absolute minimum possible could be, and some clarity about what the maximum possible could be. And whatever it turns out to be, I'll just have to. I can't. I can't move forward in life really until I know what our overarching financial situation is. Like, I'd like to spend some money getting rid of these dumb ceiling fans and lamp things and replacing them with just regular light fixtures. But, you know, I also like to get some dental work done. These things are expensive. I don't really feel like I can make expensive decisions until I have a clearer understanding of our overarching situation. So, yeah, I've been working through, I guess, that reality that, okay, the frustrations and or difficulties I'm having stem from the fact that there are a variety of things I'd like to do, but I need clarity on my overall situation before I can make the decision to do any of those things, really. Because otherwise, I'm just acting in the fog of war without adequate knowledge. Most extroverted sensing film. Well, Rocky's not a terrible choice, but I think there's too much character development in that film to call it the most SE. Like John Wick. John Wick 3 is extremely SE. Uh, I don't know which of the first three John Wicks, which I've seen. I've not seen John Wick 4, but I'm not sure which of the first three John Wicks should win the most SE film award, but it's one of those, I would say. Most SI film. Hmm. I'm gonna name an obscure one. Tampoco. Or is it called Tampopo? Tampoko? It's a Japanese film about a ramen maker. Let me look it up. It's an old film. I saw it a long time ago. Oh, it is called Tampopo. A 1985 Japanese film written and directed by Juzo Itami. It's about. Go away, Wikipedia. Let me just look at your website without you constantly asking me for money, please. It's about the widowed owner of a struggling ramen shop called Lai Lai. A customer harasses Tampopo. Tampopo is the lady, demanding that she sell the shop. Guru suggests Piskin can be quiet so he can enjoy his meal, then provokes a physical confrontation. Goro puts up a good fight, but is outnumbered by Piskin and his men. He's knocked out and awakens the next morning in Tampopo's home. Anyway, then they decide to turn her establishment into a paragon of the art of noodle soup making. She and Goro visit her competitors and he points out their strengths and weaknesses. She still is struggling to fix the broth, so Goro visits a old master and enlists his superlative expertise. When they rescue an elderly man from choking on his food, the man lends her the services of his chauffeur, Shohei, who has masterly way with noodles. They pry ramen secrets from their competitors and finally change the name of the restaurant from Lai to Tempopo. Anyway, she eventually masters the art of making ramen, and you know, her shop is filled with customers. That's a very SI film. Okay, another possible SI film would be Time for Bed. It sure is cozy. It's a film about a person who is feeling super cozy, and after having a cup of hot cocoa, goes to bed. It's a short film, but it's a real SI winner. I wish you luck too, KE. Nope, you know what? You don't even need it. You've got skills. You've got the skills to pay the bills, KE. I wish you as much luck as you need, but you don't even need any. I was thinking it might be fun for me to do a bunch of shorts that say, you know, things that I think are great quotes by people that aren't normally quoted. I was thinking, for example, this morning, you could do a lot of things with certain song lyrics, such as, "Hi, Cam Moto. Oh, you can? Really? You know how to do that? It's electrical work. Are you sure? I don't want you to shock yourself or something. I'm, a, I'm, I don't feel competent personally to do electrical work. Although, we do have obviously a circuit breaker in the garage. If we can identify the correct circuit, we could flip it off and it would be safe to work on, I guess. But if you feel like you know how to do that, then whenever you're available, please come up. And I would love to hire you to help me do this job a lot cheaper than getting somebody else to come in and do it. That'd be fantastic. Cam is MacGyver. If you give him a pine cone and some syrup and a little bit of tar, he'll make a fully functioning grenade with a pen and everything. So yeah, just let me know your timetable, man. I would love to do that project with you. I was thinking about what I'm gonna do is order them from Amazon. Like I ordered these 4 lamps from Amazon, but I just want to make sure I get the right size or whatever. I've looked at the lamps at the Ace Hardware in Mariposa. We could go to Home Depot or something, but I'm inclined to order it online. Yeah, Cam MacGyver's all kinds of shit. Sometimes MacGyvering gives you information that you don't want. For example, through Cam's garden camera system, he learned that giant rats were crawling on his tomatoes. If you're talking about an S and NI movie, well, that's a tricky one. I would say visually, Wes Anderson movies are very NI. Well, I'm getting there, Conan. You and I are on the same. We're on the same path here. We're at the next. We reached the next one at the same time. NI. I do think Wes Anderson films are a good example of movies that visually are very NI. They've got like striking uh, scene framing and colors and stuff. I would say that, but if you're looking beyond the visual, what's an very NI movie? Well, it seems like a very NI movie would effectively tell a single story with a clear arc that sort of doesn't get distracted by its side narratives. I mean, it's hard to say. Okay, like I'm inclined to go. It's hard to come up with a good NI movie that also doesn't make good use of extroverted intuition. Okay, thank you for that information, Cam. Cam notes that if I buy a light fixture with a diameter equal to or greater than the footprint of the fan, which I know what that is, um, then I won't have to worry about unpainted areas becoming uncovered. Cool. Good to know. So I will if you let me know your timetable, I'll make sure that I have those fixtures before you get up here. Lots of Mel Gibson and Clint Eastwood stuff seems and I okay. I would say okay, Gran Torino. Thank you for mentioning Clint Eastwood here, Lamb. That's an excellent cue there for me because I would say Gran Torino is maybe one of the most NI films I've ever seen. So much so that when Clint Eastwood dies at the end, his body falls in the shape of a crucifix because he's sacrificing himself um, to save this family of people who tried to steal his car. Hitler? Which are you talking about? Juan Hitler? Um, oh, phone's ringing. Oh my God. What song is it that says that? Some song that says, phone's ringing. Oh my God. Hello. Chow Wah, what a shock. You know, when our landline rings, you are the only person who calls our landline. Yeah. I always know it's. Did you call my cell this morning? Because well, I don't always have it with me. All right, let me look at this book list real quick. But just to let you know, I am currently live streaming. So I'll try to look at the book list and answer your question. I'm not going to do anything further at the moment. So where is the? No, they can't hear you. I have the landline up to my ear. You're not a speaker. So is it in my email or what? Um. Oh yeah, book report. Um. Choose from one of the following options. I haven't read any of those books. Yeah, I'll have to. I'll tell you what. After I hang up with you, I'll read all these books out to people and see if anybody's read any of them, and then see what they say. Which one is good if they know any of them. Of course, has nothing to do with that. This is all about me wanting to expand my literary horizons and find a book that I want to read. Yes, you're correct. They can only hear me. Yeah, maybe later, but I'm live streaming right now, so he doesn't want me to shit on it, right? I get it. Yeah, I get it. The thing is, the reason I shit on those essays is not because he's a bad writer at all, right? It's because they're not conceptually what I think they should be. Look, the thing is, I'm not worried about the writing, right? It's like it needs to conceptually, whatever he's doing, it needs to be one thing, and it needs to be real. That's it, you know? And so if it is one thing and it's real, then it's always going to be perfectly fine, even if it's not perfectly written. And it's going to be great if it is perfectly written. No, I mean, I will. The thing is, don't take away from the fact that I shit on those essays. That I like to shit on essays. Take away from the fact that I shit on those essays because they were conceptually wrong. If you applied the concept I was expressing to him, I'm not going to shit on it at all because it will be authentic and one thing. I get it. I get it. Okay, I get it. But also, I'm going to be exactly the same as I always am, which is correct about things. If it's great, I'll be enthusiastic about it. No, I'm not, it's not like I have to be or not have to be. It's like, that's how I am, you know? I don't want to make him feel bad at all about some shitty essay. I don't blame him at all. I blame the counselor and you entirely. Well, I know. Okay, I got it. All right. I gotta finish live streaming. I'll talk to you later. Bye. So anyway, we got a little bit Hitler the painter. What do I think of Hitler the painter? Not a very good painter. You know, if you count the chickens, you can become a millionaire. How does counting chickens make you a millionaire? This would be a good quote to have on Eric's quotable quotes from various people, you know, not quoting myself. Into the Wild. I don't think that main character is INFP at all. I read the book. I haven't. I'm not sure if I've seen the movie, but that guy was totally an ESFP. That guy could not have been any more of an ESFP. Maybe an ENFP even. I'm not sure. He actually wrote rather like an NE person, but the values he was expressing were so SE, so SESI. Doing stuff, experiencing stuff. Um, Almost certainly an ESFP. Good morning, Rachel, my darling. I only know I'm right about things I know I'm right about, and I only know I'm right about them because I've determined that those things are correct independently of me. Don't don't straw man me like that. I mean, and I don't mean my arguments. I mean me personally. It's like I am a lot more than your poorly distilled NI characterization. So back to movies. I should talk about other books. I don't. Has anybody read any of these dumb books? I don't want to read any of them. No, I'm not going to read this book. I'm going to have to tell Chow Wall that next time. I forget to say no sometimes. Um, it's not like I have a problem saying no. It's like I forget to do it. So I don't even need to bother reading any of those books. I don't need to. I don't need to name the books. I'm not. I've just decided. Oh, that's right. I'm not going to read any of these books because I don't want to, and I don't like them. I don't like the books that you know that English teachers choose. Paul Murray, The Bee Sting, Paul Lynch, Prophet Song, Melis de Kerangle, Eastbound, Zadie Smith, The Fraud, Ted Jew Cole, Open City, Zia Hyder Rahman, In the Light of What We Know, Sally Rooney, Beautiful World, Where Are You? Joshua Cohen, The Netanyahus, Chang Ray Lee, Native Speaker, Rick Moody, The Ice Storm, Eka Kurniawan, Man Tiger, Katie Kitamura, Intimacies, Anak Arud Pragasm, A Passage North, Hernan Diaz, Trust, Valeria Luiselli, Lost Children Archive, Hua Hasu, Stay True, Daniel Richter, Facing East from Indian Country, Beverly Gage, G-Man, J. Edgar Hoover and the Making of the American Century, Amy Stanley, Stranger in the Shogun City, a Japanese Woman in a World, Ilyu Wu, Master Slave Husband Wife, Michelle Mendelsohn, Making Oscar Wilde. By and large, it looks like a bunch of stupid diversity shit. I'm not going to read any of the books. If you want it, you got it. Come and get it. All you got to do is hurry because it's going fast. DMX. What? That's not DMX? Manu, you're still doing your ABCs. You can't rival with me. I read board games. That's cool. How many board games can you read? If a reading board game could be read, you could read a few things like this or that, or how to play Monopoly. That's a fact, and then you'd be a happy and fulfilled game playing man. New John. Well, ABCs is where we always are, as well as will be. What about the word dirt? Well, that has no A, B, or C in it. It does have a D. IRT. Dirt. There. Did I win the spelling bee? My dream since I've been a child is to win a spelling bee. Maybe someday, do you think maybe if everything works out, I might win a spelling bee? No, you can't win a spelling bee. I was raised by an evil orphanage director. Eat your gruel, boy. Eat it and suffer. Yes, school mom. I was raised by a male school marm. Come on. What, you're almost out of propane? Is that what you're telling me? Don't worry, I've got another jar of propane somewhere. All these jars. What does it say? Propane tank. Propane camping gas. Ooh, I've got camping gas. I've got some disappointing news for all of you, actually. But I'll also give you a ray of hope. I actually pooped before the stream this morning, so you're not going to get to participate in my pooping. But here's a ray of hope. It's possible in the next couple of hours that I might need to poop again. And if I do, and if I'm still streaming, then maybe you'll get to participate in that one. Maybe. But it was a pretty good poop this morning. So it's not like I don't feel like I have poop left in me. I feel pretty poop free. Ready to start the day. You know how The Who made that musical about that deaf, dumb, and blind kid who had a supple fist? Was that movie about fisting and disabilities? A disability themed fisting fetish? Got such a supple fist. He sticks it in my butthole and rams it way up high. His fist is like a piece of warm, delicious pie. He pushes it up further until it reaches the sky. That deaf, dumb, and blind kid sure fists me really well. He's a fisting wizard, there's got to be a twist. Fisting wizard's got such a supple fist. What's the best way to enjoy a DXM trip? I don't know what DXM is. Never even heard of it. Choose your foot shape and read about your personality. Has anyone tried that one? My foot is shaped like a regular foot, pretty much. What's your take on robo tripping? Don't know what it is. Never ending story for NI? I don't really remember that drug. I don't really remember that movie very well. I got distracted by Hero Lamp's chat here. Lou Reed on why he does drugs. It's better than Monopoly. Okay, that's back to where I read before. Man, John, why not? Why talk about being with no definition? It's not very pragmatic. It is, dare I say, spiritual bypassing. Why talk about being with no definition? Well, I mean, do we really talk for the purpose of being pragmatic? Or need our words be pragmatic? I don't think I say things very much with a lot of consideration of pragmatism. I'm a nerd. If you were, then why would you be living with us here? If you were a spiritual being, well, maybe he has a corporeal form. Please use feet lingo as a shorthand. I don't know what FE means. It means feel everything. But what is still striving to achieve a status, even if they're achieving a state of simple being? I do not know what those words mean. Please tell me that's not my phone. God damn it. Chow, are you serious? I'm live streaming. Hello? How about noon? I'll send him a link. Okay, bye. All right, so I figure that's good. That'll give us a ticking clock. We've got an hour and 5 minutes left. Then I gotta go. That's good. That way I don't just, fritter the day away live streaming. Without any particular purpose. I do think I want to make a loaf of bread this morning. Ever jumped around in your pool to make waves? I don't have a pool. Okay, so the first thing I got to do to make bread is turn on some lights in here. Meow. 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 I'll turn on all the lights in here. Meow. Look how much light that is. That's a lot of light. Now, I gotta get my bread shaper, which is this, ready. My bread shaper. And today, I'm gonna cook this loaf of bread for the right amount of time. 35 minutes, I'll look at it. It may even need 40 because the dough is so wet. But it actually came out delicious yesterday. It was undercooked. So I think with the right amount of time, we're going to have ourselves a serious loaf of bread on our hands. First, I'll squirt this with this stuff. This helps the bread to fall out at the end. I'm going to wash my hands now. And I'll get at the dough. There we go. Okay. Let me give the cat more food. Wants more food. Here you go. There you go. All right, now we'll get the dough out. And we will pour it into the pan. It's going to pour a little more slowly because it's cold. We need to let it rise in the pan again. Come on. Come on out of there, you. Come on. Okay. Let me see if I can get a scooper or something. Maybe like this. Okay. Shake that around and maybe smooth it out a little bit with the spoon too. Okay. Now then, this is ready to rise again a la Jesus. I'll put it right there in the rising spot underneath those warming lamps. And we'll just let it do its thing for a while. In the meantime, I will fill this with water. There's some exciting cat action for you to watch while I'm cleaning the spoon. Fill this up with water. I'll probably just hand wash this metal thing rather than put it in the washing machine or the dishwasher. Alright, it's time. That's right, everybody. I've exercised a lot of self-discipline this morning. I split a 30 milligram Adderall in half. I took 15 of it already earlier. I'm going to take the second 15 now. And feel kind of jazzed about the day, about the upcoming month even. Because I'm pretty confident that I can make it all the way through the rest of the day just taking the amount of Adderall that I'm prescribed, which is 30 milligrams. Okay. Now this is filled with water. Water helps make the dough more watery. so that it doesn't, it's not so sticky after you put water on it. I hope you still have some rising energy in you, Joe. You look like you deflated over the night in the fridge, which kind of surprised me. I hope it wasn't too cold in there and the yeast died. We will see if this loaf rises or not. If it doesn't, then I suppose in theory I could proof a little bit more yeast and sort of hand mix that into the dough. But not really an optimal solution. Hope is dependent on one thing. What is that one thing, Manu John? You want to pull its whiskers? Trouble would not like that. Trouble would scratch the living shit out of you, too. That's not a cat you want to fuck with. Hope is dependent on how you're going to do it. What is hope in MBTI? Can it vary and be any function? Sure. I mean, hope is the linking of a positive emotion to a future possibility. So you could say in that regard, it's FINE, but it's not a function, obviously. Everybody feels hope, and they can, that's some sort of hope, right? The most significant thing in the world here, Alan, is the second word you have there, expectations. Expectations comprise one half of the prime directive, experience the other half. Expectations are to the metaphysical self as experiences to the physical self. If nobody knows how to do what? Like, I'm hopeful that I can impact people with my narratives such that I can improve the relationship of the citizens comprising the body politic to each other by demonstrating civil discourse. I hope that, but I definitely don't know how. I have some sense of things I could do differently that might make it more possible. But unfortunately, hope is not contingent on solvency. You don't actually have to know how to solve a problem at all to be hopeful that somehow it will be solved, You might say, well, you have to believe in the possibility of somebody knowing how to solve it. Not necessarily. Some problems just solve themselves, That's the issue of inherency. When you're arguing a point, if you're the affirmation and to be the affirmation means to advocate a change in the status quo, okay? If you're advocating a change in the status quo, then you have to establish inherency, namely that the problem won't solve itself. Some problems do. If the problem is your little sister is too short to ride this ride, the solution is simply to wait. She'll grow taller, and then she'll be able to ride the ride. The solution is not to give her leg replacement surgery or something. So, yeah, problems do sometimes solve themselves, and one could, for example, hope that occurs sooner rather than later, and that hope would not be predicated on anybody knowing how to solve anything. California's drought is an example of a problem that solved itself. Now, hoping for rain, hoping for snow is an example of hope that's not predicated on any kind of know-how, you know. Well, I mean, I hope we get more rain today, Manny John. But I don't have any plan to make that happen. Should I? Should I therefore either not hope or plan to change the weather? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, watching Trouble Eat is not the most exciting part of my day either, Rachel. So you and I are on the same page then. How about that? You're calling 911? Why? What happened? I don't think that my hope that we get more rain today, Manny John, is like eating the table while you want a cake. I'm quite sure that it's not at all like that. I mean, my point it makes very clear to everybody, hopefully, how much simpler this question is than you guys are making it. I hope we get more rain later today. It has nothing to do with NI, with solvency, with anything like that. It has to do with the fact that I like rain. As a Californian, I'm habituated to being happy when it rains because I like our lakes and rivers to be full. What is what else is there to explain about it? You know, I hope that package arrives today. I'd like to put those lamps together. I'm not sure if it's going to arrive today or not. Doesn't require any plan, any NI, anything. Just having a preference. That's all it requires. FI, you know. I prefer if this thing that I have no control over happens this way or that way. I don't think we have any adult content on here. Oh yeah, I did do a joke about the Who writing Tommy about a person who was excellent at fisting. So that would qualify as adult content. But I want to know what happened to Emily. Is she being robbed or something? What am I doing? Oh, right. I'm looking at the weather thing. Expectation is hope with certainty. Well, I think expectation is it links to treating a given thing as though it were no longer up in the air, even though technically it is. And that can be as simple as like I expect to get to work without my car breaking down. I don't have certainty about it, but I have no reason to believe that it is going to break down, so I operate under the assumption that it won't. That's expectation. So it's looking like we're going to get light cloud cover for most of the rest of today. Then it's showing like there's not really any clouds that might hit us, but then it looks like another bunch of clouds is coming like tomorrow probably. It doesn't show that on the forecast, of course, but that's what the map's suggesting. How many functions can work at the same time? They don't really work at the same time. So it's like when I'm driving and talking, I my SE's unconscious, but obviously my eyes are still taking in data and adjusting as cars move around me and stuff. But because I'm talking, if I'm talking about something that requires extroverted intuition, for example, I'm likely to miss an exit, fail to turn where I'm supposed to turn, not read that sign or whatever. So my SE is limited by the fact that I'm acting in the alternative action way at the same time, but it's still functioning in an unconscious fashion. Which is to say, I'm unlikely to remember anything about driving, although I am likely to have an SI ability to link, say, oh, I remember where we were when that song came on. So, in that regard, you know, in some sense, a person, well, when we model functions, we need functions definitionally to be linked, to be like stablecoin um, for information directionality. Namely, the action functions put information, they do things, they establish things on their fields or change things on their fields. So I'm extrovertedly intuiting putting metaphysical objects on the external metaphysical field right now. And if I'm punching something or right, I'm also making this chair move around a little bit. So I'm extrovertedly sensing in the sense that I'm making an impact on the external physical field while concurrently making an impact on the external metaphysical field. You can say, therefore, that I'm attending via both SE and NE right now. Certainly, I'm somewhat aware, additionally, of the social implications of what I'm doing, and I'm somewhat responsive to things people are saying in the chat, so I'm somewhat engaged on an FE level interfacing with people. Additionally, I'm as a default tool function, I'm checking everything I say as I'm saying it with TI to make sure it's consistent with all the other things I say. And additionally, for what I'm doing to validate on in ways that matter to me, it needs to resonate with you as true. In other words, it needs to validate against good other people's NI. What you'd be most likely to or capable of, most empowered to critique about what I'm doing is the lack of TE, the lack of solvency, efficacy, goal, purpose, teleology, right? And because what I'm doing isn't framed as part of any goal, or it's also I sometimes frame it as the solution to a problem, but that's not fundamentally the framing under which I begin streaming, for example, right? And then we're talking about FI. Well, really, FI is driving my boat a lot of the time. It's ultra unconscious, but what am I doing? Well, exactly what I feel like doing. However, FE's conscious. So when Jeffrey's mom calls me and says, "Can you work with Jeffrey?" Even though I'm streaming, I say, "Yeah, sure," at noon. And I just sort of utilize that to help me not get too lost in what I feel like doing, right? Which is probably not very productive. On an SI level, for me, it's like you'll see that SI stuff expressed is when I take a drink of something, you'll see the absence of SI stressors is a necessary precondition for me to be doing what I'm doing right now. If I were cold or in pain or something, I need to solve that first before I could engage in pleasantly being me as I am now. So the thing is, for any given period of time, you might be able to articulate how a given person's attending. So you could articulate right now that I'm attending primarily by extroverted intuition because, as far as everybody else is concerned, what I'm doing is limited to the things they can observe. Whatever other attention I may be engaging in right now, besides extroverted intuition and introverted thinking, most of it you can't observe. Like I just snuffled my nose a little bit. That'd be some SIs. I felt the need to clear it out a bit. Um, the thing is, in that split second when I did that snuffly thing, well, then I was in SI for a second, but just for a split second, and so there's a lot of that, right? You know, people's attention can shift very quickly. So it's not so much that it's happening at the same time usually, although some we can see examples where they are. One of them's unconscious if they're happening at the same time. I think you're best capable of multitasking with your first and eighth. but um, but if we're trying to understand the attention of a given individual during a given period of time, we've got to pay attention to whether they're putting information, getting information, receiving information ungotten, or dynamically engaging with another agent. This is a very static form of dynamic engagement live streaming where I read the chat and respond to what people are saying, but can't get interrupted. You know, I can't get interrupted. In the hopeless, there is an inherent truth to be seen or found or learned. Let's all search and get it. Why is there necessarily something to be learned from hopelessness? I mean, seeing the most kind of obvious lesson of hopelessness is that it sucks. I don't know if I've ever felt entirely hopeless before. You know, the word is despair. That's what despair means, entirely without hope. I've certainly been miserable before. I spent plenty of time hating myself. I've been plagued by shame and anxiety on plenty of occasions. But I've never been in a position where I had no hope. I can conceive of there being such a time and such a position. I think that's where the position my dad found himself in, right near the end of his life. He didn't have anything he could feel hopeful about anymore, or take pleasure in. Forget hope for a second. You know, he lost his wife, and by the last month or two, he had been significantly limited in terms of his physical abilities by a broken rib, you know, COVID affecting his eyesight and already being like deaf. And, you know, it was for an SI tool user, there's no hope because there's no familiarities, physicalities, etc., experiences that you can use to accomplish things. And that's what ESTJs do with SI. They use it as a tool function. So I always empathized with Hunter S. Thompson his justification for ending his own life was that he couldn't be he couldn't be physically comfortable anymore. His body had failed him. He couldn't do any of the things he wanted to do anymore. Hates for the rigid? I like the concept used in computing of reading and writing from an infinite tape. Why did I hate myself? Well, I was an active alcoholic. This does not have alcohol in it. And it's hard to be an ENTP, especially when you're younger. Um, maybe maybe this is particular to me. I don't know if it's an ENTP thing or not, but the way it played out for me was, you know, I spent a lot of my life being shushed and or dismissed. So for me, I had a very conflicted self concept. On the one hand, I I have I had a history of kind of finding certain kinds of things easy and being better at certain kinds of things than other people. So I unavoidably ended up being fairly successful in my work, Uh, but but it took me such a long time to believe the success my students were having in debate tournaments. There was nothing fluky about it. That it wasn't the specific kids. I had to go through multiple sets of teams before I accepted the fact that I just, I guess I was a better coach than all the people I was competing against most of the time. Like my elementary student kids, one of my elementary fifth grade debate teams won the elementary school debate tournaments for 8 years in a row. That's 16 plus, I don't know, it's probably like 20 tournaments in a row. Because we had two a year, plus we'd have a third on some years. That's not the point of this channel. This is not an MBTI channel, all right? I'm host Eric. I talk about a variety of things. I do believe that cognitive functions are a critical component to correctly understanding life, the universe, and everything. But that doesn't mean that's what this channel is about. This channel is about talking with famous people. Who are the famous people? You people right there are the famous people. Who's the talking? I'm the talking. You're also the talking. Who's the with? That's this live stream. We're with one another. Yeah, HB's struggle to stay focused on just one thing. They might have enthusiasm for multiple projects, and that doesn't necessarily serve them well. And without some kind of external discipline enforcing thing like a boss or school or whatever, ENTPs can really struggle to bring to completion even the very best of ideas. Jeffrey seems a little bit more self-disciplined than me. He's still scattered as hell, but he he has less of an aversion to doing his work. We'll see how he does in college without his mom hovering over his head every freaking second. You know. Hi, Uncle Fatty. Much love to you too. You're the contractor from Idaho, I believe, or perhaps Montana, or perhaps Wyoming. One of those three states. I'm not a particularly good rememberer, so that means you made an impression. You actually got mentioned in last night's live stream. Somebody brought you up. I don't remember who it was that brought you up. But I think the takeaway was, yeah, he seems cool. You buy a flight ticket and you get a strong feeling the flight will crash. Would you still get on the plane or not? I guess it would depend on why I got that strong feeling. I have to evaluate what cues I'd intuited from. If it was like the engine smoking, then no, I'm not going to get on the plane. The thing about that kind of thing, man and John, is you got to keep track of your hits and misses. Like whenever I have a strong feeling, yeah, I tend to make note of it and then check later to see if it was right. Occasionally, I'm right. Maybe it's because of your ciggy smoking. Facts don't care about your feelings. Where was I on the plane? Yeah, I still am, actually. I'm on the plane. It's burning up. I'm saving everybody. Afterwards, when the news interviews me, I'm just going to say, I just did what anyone would do, you know? Just when you see someone who needs help, you get in there and you help, you know? And I was like, you're such a hero. You saved everybody on the plane. How wonderful. Those people on our cosplay, they just stop paying such bombers. Just get over it already. So you're on fire, so what? Good point. Good point, Tiffany. You make an excellent point. Are you saying that facts are mean? INTPs are hypersensitive. Would you like to be overly sensitive? I'm not sure INTPs are hypersensitive per se. Although, I think we NTPs are sensitive. I think really everybody's sensitive. Facts are mean and short cholerics. Extrovert intuition sees every side of an issue. Well, it is the case that as I'm extrovertedly intuiting, I'm likely to account for a lot of various possibilities. I can make the argument for every every position. I can make the best argument for every position that I know anything about, every position statement, even the ones that are in dispute with one another. KE, you need to stop claiming you're an ESFP. You're just muddying the water with your lies. I already bought a ticket, so that means I have accepted the stamp of death on me. Maybe NI working with NE is a powerful collaboration. Remember, NE is throwing passes, NI is catching them. So it is the case that as an extroverted, intuiting, dominant person, I'm attempting to land my passes in NI buckets, and accordingly have to have some action framed awareness of where those NI buckets are. But to say they're working in conjunction, it's true in some sense, but my introverted intuition is only working unconsciously in the service of my extroverted intuition and introverted thinking. In fact, when others present words that convey to me NI knowing of something that ought to be determined, in my opinion, then it makes me mad. So it's like I only like things that I only like good NI. I don't like bad NI. Put it that way. Well, I think you're beautiful, Rachel. Did you call me ass? KE, is donkey behind a synonym for ass? KE, your capacity to find 10 morons does not impress me. I could find 10 morons to say things too, I'm sure. Other people's opinion about typology doesn't matter at all. If it conflicts with mine, it's wrong. It doesn't mean I'm always right about everybody's type the first time I type them. But there is no fucking way in hell, KE, that you are an ESFP. So just get the fuck over it. Just deal with it. Is this even rising? I guess it is a little bit. How long is it going to take to rise at this rate? Is it the same height it was, or is it getting taller? I think it's getting a little taller. NI dominant working with NE dominant, that's great, INTJs and ENTPs can no doubt generate some brilliantly original solutions. And with the INTJs' help, some kind of plan of action to attain either the outcome or the solution. INFJs and ENTPs can work together beautifully on sort of collaborative, communicative projects. Rachel and I often stream together. Sure, I dominate the talking. She chimes in periodically. Regardless, it's like people like us better than they like me. Including me. I like us better than I like me too. My friend Corey and I used to do a lot of creative endeavors together. Rachel and I do too, it's like For example, if I'm playing songs, people like me and Rachel as a duo much better than they like just me. I was noting yesterday actually that the other thing is, and a lot of people don't have this in common in their relationship. Rachel and I have the same career. She's a housewife, I'm a house husband. Let me tell you, it's a full time job, okay? You think a house like this just cleans itself? You think it just washes its own clothes? Raises its own children? No. That's why it requires a housewife and a house husband to do it. Donkey behind an insect man. Yin and yang. First, you put the yin inside of the yang. Then you put the yang inside of the yin. And that's what you do. It's called humping, man. Can I stick my yin in your yang? I should put that on my LinkedIn, house husband. It's like somebody asked me during the home tour, "Are you the owner?" And for some reason, I answered, "I'm the husband." I don't know why I answered that way. The answer is yes, but I didn't answer it that way for some reason. It's like I guess I was assuming they just talked to Rachel, and 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 they were just asking if I was her husband and therefore the owner. I don't know. For some reason, I answered it. I'm the husband. It's part of the clause of the conditions you agree to when you buy a ticket. The plane might crash. Well, you can't sign a liability waiver um, that gives up basic rights, but you can. I mean, you can't sign a waiver that gives up your basic rights, but you can sign a liability waiver that gives up your claim to liability should those rights be violated unintentionally. That's an example of a plane ride, right? You can't waive away, say, your self ownership. Certain rights you can't waive, but you can waive liability claims should those rights be violated. All right, we got Cam Moto as our son. Yeah, some people at the home tour said, you guys and your son, I'm pointing to Cameron, like Cameron's the son of me and Rachel. Rachel's 38. Cameron is 49, maybe 50 now. I don't know, but who would think that Rachel? I mean, Cameron looks kind of young for his age, I guess, but so does Rachel. I can't even conceive of. I could conceive of a world where people think he's my son because I look older than my age, and he looks younger. I don't remember if I had my hair cut in time for the home tour or not. He didn't look anything like me or Rachel. People buy plane tickets like it's not going to crash this time. There's lots of things that might kill you that you do on a daily basis because it probably won't. And the alternative is to just lock yourself in a cage of bubble wrap, and be as safe as possible all the time. I mean, it's no different than driving a car. The only difference is you have no say on whether it crashes. I guess it's no different than riding in a car. All right. What I think is dumb, usually, is elective surgery. You've got a lot greater chance of dying during some elective surgery than you do in a plane crash. Like getting your butt cheeks done or something. Cameron knows somebody who got their butt cheeks went in to get their butt cheeks done and died. Well, you're on a little bit of a delay, KE, also, so I have an advantage there. I know it's a delay because sometimes Rachel's listening to it in here when I go to smoke a cigarette and I come back in here and I'm hearing what I said outside. OSHA says that I'm not allowed to risk my life for my job. That's why I only work at night alone with power tools. Having a fat ass is worth the risk too. Until fat asses go out of style, in which case you have to get your ass implants removed, incurring yet another risk of death. But there are other things that you should not do because they're too risky, such as don't do ketamine in a hot tub. Okay? Don't do ketamine in a hot tub. Well, sure, we might think fake ass is lame. I do too. I think fake boobs are lame too. Obviously, I don't want any fakeness in my boobs. That's how Chandler died. He was in the K-hole in his hot tub and drowned. Having been in the K-hole, I know that if you go under the water, you're going to drown. The coroner's report said he had as much ketamine in his system as a surgical patient would if they were using it as like an anesthetic or whatever. I mean, all women have some insecurities about their bodies and stuff. So do men. But women are subjected to, in general, more body stuff than men are. More body shaming and beauty standards and stuff. It's also reasonable to point out that they do it to themselves. It's not like most men are. I mean, some men maybe are like, you need to look like this or whatever. But women spend a lot of time doing it to each other and themselves. Like there are plenty of men who say, I like you best without makeup on. It does not stop women from wearing makeup. I mean, the worst of the body stuff is, at least the most prevalent and maybe persistent of it, is fat shaming. Can I even tell? I don't know. I don't have to tell because Rachel's all real. It's like Kendrick Lamar says, although Rachel doesn't have this at all, but it's like Kendrick Lamar said, show me ass with some stretch marks in the song Humble. Well, okay, KE, even if that's generally true when tested, it's not necessarily true for any individual person, especially one in a relationship, because when you have strong feelings towards the person you're with, you have a particularist experience of them that is not subject to some general rule that may prove true when studied. So when I say, I don't really have a preference, frankly. Rachel wears makeup. She doesn't wear makeup. I probably don't even notice. I notice when she's putting it on. Well, I agree that cheating on girlfriends and robbing people is lame. But in that one song, his message of stop photoshopping every woman in every magazine is, I think, one worth listening to. That's why when I was shopping for pornography magazines back in the day when I was like 19, 20, whatever, and there wasn't any internet pornography really yet, I went for the magazine called Big Naturals. It guaranteed that all the big tits inside of the magazine were all natural. Now, I will admit, I did no investigation to verify the naturalness of the boobs in that magazine. But I believed it. I believed them. All the boobs I saw in the magazine, none of them looked like fake boobs. I didn't want fake boobs in my magazine. I wanted real boobs. Well, here I am. Back when I was 18 or 19, the only pornography you get, you had to go to a VCR store. I mean, like what's it called? Videotape store. What are those called? Movie rental place. You had to go to like that place, one of the kind of mom and pop ones that had a porn section, and rent a porn video like that, or you bought magazines at 7-Eleven or from like a porn magazine store, VHS repository. Thank you, Fly Guy. That's the word I was looking for. Now, sure, I also bought Mamazons. You might say, looking at Mamazons, well, it doesn't claim in the title to be naturals, right? So probably it's full of big fake titties. Mamazons, though, no. It seemed also to, well, I mean, Mamazons, it prioritized big tits over everything else. So you get some pretty thick girls in there. But I guess both those magazines are probably long gone now. People don't buy magazines anymore. In my house, when I was growing up, we received several magazines. We got National Geographic. We got, well, yeah, we got this Sunset magazine. My mom got Sunset magazine, which is like Western living for ISFJs. Yeah, well, but here's the thing. Come on. I don't want to I don't want to be too explicit or anything. But there are some women. I mean, I know of one exactly who has big old titties that simply defy gravity, even at age 38. And that woman, her name rhymes with Schmachel. So certain women are endowed with gravity-defying breasts. I think a woman's breast perkiness links directly to the perkiness of her soul. My magazine is my favorite bug killer. Well, we actually get the newspaper now. I never dreamed when we moved to Mariposa that I'd subscribe to the newspaper. The only reason I subscribe to it is because I want access to the online content. I want access to its content online. Mariposa Gazette. Um, Look, Rachel, I wasn't necessarily talking about you. I was just saying that her name rhymes with Schmachel. So don't feel like I violated your privacy at all. People don't know for sure who it is. We are still have our first editions of J.C. Penney and Sears catalogs. 1987 is vintage gold. Montgomery Ward, 1989. That was before, around the time when the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue came out. Oh, we also got Sports Illustrated. And boy, that went straight into the bathroom with me. Went straight into the bathroom with me. I liked to read in the bathroom, is why. There were a lot of good articles in the swimsuit edition of Sports Illustrated. You know, articles about how this swimsuit is made by this maker and costs this much. Things like that. L. McPherson, indeed. Boy, I spilled more than one load upon a paper towel. Viewing her, especially the one where like she doesn't have the top part of the bikini on, and she's like, I've got my boobs covered with my arm. You know, that one. That pose. I'd always find those ones in the magazine. The ones where she only has on the bottom part of the bikini, but you can't see her boobs, of course, because it's Sports Illustrated. You know, when it's in the 80s, you have fewer options than you do now. Well, that sounds like a horrible surgical procedure. All right, I have got to go because I've got to talk with Jeffrey at noon. You guys knew this was coming. It's now 11:55, and that means it's time to do something else now. So have a very pleasant afternoon. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese, and I'll talk to you again soon.